Thank you for participating in this webinar event. We will cover quite a deep and deeply important subject for our journey in both healing ourselves and towards deprogramming from the way we have been taught to go against ourselves. So first, to begin, let me do a quick self-introduction. My name is Thais Natasha. I am first an artist. That is my first love and passion, and what I spend most of my time doing. But throughout my journey, however, I hit upon some very harsh life situations that forced me to step back and go through a very deep healing and spiritual process. While teaching English in South Korea, I was diagnosed with precancerous tumors around one of my ovaries. So I returned home to Canada and had them surgically removed. That began my true physical healing journey. Later, I got entrapped in the twin flame deception. That is a concept I will cover later in this webinar, and that brought me to the center of severe entity attacks, another subject I will cover later in this webinar. I got free from the twin flame deception, and that is when my true spiritual healing journey and process began. Now, this is a very personal and intimate webinar for human souls. So let's approach it without shame or inhibitions. This is a real and raw webinar because we're in a crucial time where our souls and our soul energy are being stolen, trapped, and used in ways we cannot even imagine. Before I move on, however, let me pause to define in brief terms how I understand the concept of the soul. The soul is the part of you that leaves this physical plane when you shed the physical vessel that is you, that you are currently in. This is your true self. The physical that you see in the mirror is just a vessel which contains your soul. This vessel will eventually die and disintegrate, but the soul is immortal. And it is where your consciousness lies. The soul for some is something like a golden orb, or it may be a different shape for each individual, but it is inside the chest, behind the heart. It is your mind consciousness, your energy, and your true self beyond this earth plane. As we are only here temporarily. Many people call it chi, ki, or prana, but it is your life force. It is your true life force. We will go into more detail about the soul later on in the course, but keep this rough definition in mind as we will refer to it almost every section of this course. We will begin by looking at the consciousness of the vagina and the seed of creation, and the womb as the sacral space of consciousness for both men and women. We will then move on to explore physically healing the genitalia for both. Following that, we will look at the twin flame deception, what it is, and how to heal from it. And then we will deep dive into conscious coupling or true partners, true lovers in partnership. And finally, we will go through a meditation using your own energy to heal trauma wounding in the genitalia. Now, let's begin part 1, the consciousness of the vagina and the seed of creation. I choose not to mince words here because vagina is its scientific and medical term. There is a cocoon of shame and taboo attached to the word vagina and the physical genitalia in general. There's a plethora of ways in which the vagina is insulted and diminished with derogatory, abusive, violent words, and I fail to understand why something so sacred is so casually and demeaningly labeled. The first thing to understand is that the vagina is your place of birth, not a city, neither a country. Whatever experience we personally had in the womb during the birthing process and during the pregnancy time, during the time we were in the womb space itself, this became our abandonment fragment, our pain body, or our soul wounding. I came to this knowledge some years ago. While in the womb space, the fetus does not have an awareness that it is separate from the mother's body. It believes that the mother's body is its very own body, and it is this reason why babies are so attached to their mothers until about age 2 or 3. They see their mother as an extension of themselves. So after being born, when the mother is separate from them, maybe in a separate room or just in the bathroom or something for a few minutes, even just for a few minutes, the baby goes into a very deep state of fear. And so everything the mother went through or experienced, or how she treated herself during pregnancy, became our view of ourselves regardless of gender, including how she was treated during the pregnancy by her father, by the father of the child, or her spouse, or others around her. We believed those to be our experiences as if we were living them. In fact, we were living them, but we were living them inside the womb. Now, let us explore what the womb space actually is. It is the space of creation. A body develops and becomes fully formed inside it for 9 months. It is using the energy of the creative principle, that which we call God or divine intelligence or creator. It is interesting that the word yoni, it's become popularized now in the Western world through yoga and New Age teachings in reference to the vagina. It is in the world's oldest language, Sanskrit, and its direct translation and meaning is womb or source. And the Sanskrit word lingam, which is the penis, is translated as pillar of light and is considered the yoni's holy sword and seed. This is why you would notice statues or renderings of the lingam inside the yoni being worshipped or adorned in Buddhist temples and places of worship in some Asian countries. This is holding creation itself as a holy space, which is what is being worshipped and acknowledged as sacred, the energy of creation. I believe this meaning is lost or not fully understood now in modern times, and has become a practice to worship this symbol just as a religious practice. But sacred energy, or what we more commonly understand as sexual energy, is the essence of the divine principle, the absolute, which is the creative force from which we came. It is the energy of our true soul in the likeness of the divine principle. And that is the reason we're always seeking the feeling of it through sexual intimacy. We're seeking to be or feel our true selves. We're in actuality constantly seeking the knowledge of our own soul through sexual feeling, unknowingly. It is this feeling of the creative energy which is powerful beyond what we know here that is being used to cause the addiction to sex, porn, and all the ways this energy has become sexualized in our current world. Now, another negative aspect of this is that we're manipulated through a kind of hypnosis and programming to constantly abuse this sacred energy for pleasure by negative entities. Because negative entities, which I will clarify in a bit, feed on this energy each time a couple engages in sexual coupling to the point of orgasm. And they use it to create whatever they wish us to create, because negative entities cannot create without our creative energy. Negative entities, very simply, they are negative energies that take on different forms, such as thought forms, guides, archangels, demons, reptilians. There's so many, it would take an hour to list them all, and I don't know them all. What we call orgasm is the energetic power of the creative energy. And though we cannot see these negative entities unless we learn to remote view, which is seeing from the inner self, these negative entities will instigate a couple to move through their coupling harder and faster through a kind of hypnosis in order to expel the energy so that they can feed from it. It is like getting an extreme high for entities, which weakens us humans. Thus, couples often become tired in mere moments. The creative energy has in actuality been taken, and the couple are then being fed from. This is why it is critical to practice conscious coupling through love with a partner or spouse, not casual sex, and the couple must then protect themselves during this sacred exchange of love by setting the intention for their energy to expand their own soul energy and energetically shielding themselves from interference during the coupling. Both couples can do this by creating an energetic shield around them using their own soul energy from their chest, expanding it strongly into an orb or bubble around them. Set an intention in this shield that it protects them, and set the intention that the creative energy expands their soul energy. We have been convinced for so long that sex is okay all the time. And if we don't have sex, we will go crazy. And all sorts of debilitating beliefs programmed into us to essentially make us expel this sacred energy on a consistent basis, weakening our energetic power and force, creating a lot of wounding because our creative energy is being used in an incorrect way and an unconscious manner. In order to get into a space and inner standing of conscious coupling, we must first get out of the wounding. We're all so wounded from inside the womb. Some of us were even attacked by negative entities while inside the womb. Our first step or work is to get out of the energy of the wounding. So gently ask your mom, your mother, what her experience was like while she was pregnant with you, while you were in the womb space. And if she's no longer here, ask relatives or those who knew her, who are still here. This will help you to understand your own personality and internal trauma and wounding, and then you can heal it or let go of it, as it was not yours to begin with. A forgiveness process will take place for your mother or those that were around her during that time, or a letting go, as I said before. You do not have to share it with her if you do not want to. It is very personal, even a very delicate matter for you personally. Then move on to healing the physical genitalia and all that your womb or seed is carrying. Make no mistake, the seed, the sperm, is also very conscious, as it contains the energy and consciousness of the divine principle of creation as well. So let's move on to explore how to physically heal the genitalia and prevent illness and infections. First, the vagina itself carries a tremendous amount of wounding. This affects both the woman and any intimate relationship she may have. Many women have a personal experience of sexual abuse at some point in their lives, and all women have a general version of it on a daily basis because our bodies are sexualized. It's insulted, judged, advertised in magazines, etc. This may be controversial for some to hear, but it is sexual abuse of the female, as she's often relegated to her sexuality only as a female. To heal this wounding, the woman has to return to her soul energy, return to her inner being, which may sound complex, but it isn't, as we need to understand that we are not only the physical body, which is all we have been trained to see here, and the male has to come to the realization of his own wounding through the female. Her wounding is also his. It is. Many do not understand that they're tied together. But her wounding is also his, both from the womb space and as a true masculine energy with the same sacred energy of creation in his seed and consciousness. They're the same energy from the creative principle, just in different bodies or vessels. And this is kind of going into conscious coupling now, which is the last section of this webinar. So let's first discuss physically healing the genitalia. A woman's vagina holds so much trauma and wounding that it creates many physical illnesses. It is further traumatized if the woman has had any surgical procedures in the area or have given birth due to stretching and tearing during the birthing process. It tends to hold the trauma from the violence of the surgical knife, as well as the emptiness of what was removed. She must first heal this trauma. And I will go through a soul energy meditation at the end of this webinar that I developed for this. To physically heal the vagina and the vulva is to eliminate or stop all the ways that are abusive to this sacred space. Things like painful waxing, inserting harsh douches, tampons, and other things that do not belong in the vagina. These destroy the vaginal microbiome as well as its pH balance, creating candida overgrowth, inflammation, infections, toxicity, which result in cervical cancer, yeast and fungal infections, bladder infections, chemical poisoning, toxic shock syndrome is a big one, and more. Toxic chemicals like those in popular brands of sanitary napkins, I won't mention any names. These they do not belong in or near the vagina or the vulva because they contain toxic chemicals and bleaching agents. All of these create inflammatory and fungal and bacterial infections inside the vagina and on the vulva. Unless they are purchased as organic cotton sanitary napkins, which you can find in health food stores, many women are in actuality inserting bleach into the vagina and other chemicals into their bodies. Not only does this disrupt and wipe out the vaginal microbiome, which is the good bacteria that allows it to function properly, these chemicals travel up to the liver and other organs, creating inflammatory conditions and toxicity in the body and in the blood. Many cervical cancer diagnoses are the result of these toxic materials inserted into the vagina. A woman's menses should flow out naturally, not held inside it, creating toxic poisoning. Organic cotton sanitary napkins, or now there are many cloth alternatives. I've even seen hemp ones, which are antimicrobial. These are cleaner and safer choices, which are easily found in health food stores, or you can even order them online. Another thing that people are not aware of is the toilet paper that we use. Even if it says recycled toilet paper, if it is not something like bamboo or organic cotton, again, it contains bleach, and you're using that to wipe such a very intimate area. These chemicals and bleach stays there, and that's what causes rashes and things like that. And men as well, are not aware of this. Now, the second thing, and this is very important, is to have any metal fillings in the mouth removed and replaced with porcelain or other safer alternatives, as these metal fillings contain mercury, aluminum, lead, nickel, copper. I mean, there's so many heavy metals that I could name. And not only do they contribute to the onset of Alzheimer's and dementia, but they travel down into the gut microbiome and then down into the vaginal canal and disrupt its microbiome, creating many conditions and problems such as endometriosis, painful menses, and infections. And this attracts fluke worms, which can travel into the intestinal tract, causing inflammatory conditions and digestive issues in the intestine. To balance the vaginal microbiome itself, women need to avoid foods that contribute to candida overgrowth, such as alcohol, the very main culprit, which contains yeast, sugar and sweeteners, large amounts of bread, especially wheat bread, dairy, especially consuming a lot of cheese. Cheese is a highly inflammatory food. Dairy in general is also. And processed foods with toxic ingredients like soybean oil and GMO foods, canola oil, hydrogenated mazola, corn oil, all of these things, these wipe out your microbiome and breaks down any kind of immunity, both in the gut microbiome and in the vaginal microbiome. Sugar is a main culprit as well because it feeds the bad bacteria and the fluke worms or any other parasitic infections. Now, two ways to feed and heal the vaginal microbiome and begin to eliminate candida overgrowth are consuming coconut kefir. Now, coconut kefir is something I take regularly simply because I like it a lot. And it's pretty easy to make at home too. So you can get a can of full fat creamed coconut. Make sure it's organic. And then you can add some water to it and purchase the kefir grains. You can buy those in health food store. They're very tiny grains. And you add the kefir grains to the coconut cream and mixture and water mixture. And you ferment it for usually about 24 hours is usually the average time, but you can make it, the longer you ferment it, the stronger it becomes and more the probiotics multiply. Now, the directions are usually on the box, so it's a very simple thing. And this is a simple way to make coconut kefir at home. Another is drinking ginger and clove tea, which clove itself kills parasitic eggs and larvae. Clove is a very powerful herb. And the other is pau d'arco tea. Now, pau d'arco is a tree bark. It's the bark from a specific tree in South America. It's also called tahibo. And the inner bark has the medicinal properties. So be very careful when you purchase pau d'arco tea. Make sure it says tahibo and 100% inner bark, because a lot of copycats are stripping the outer bark of the tree and selling it as the medicinal properties, and it has no effect. So be careful that, be sure when you purchase it that you're purchasing the Tahibo brand, which comes from the inner bark of the tree. Now, pau d'arco tea is a very powerful tea. It's anti-inflammatory. It even has properties that prevent and kills cancer cells. It is so powerful, though, that I do not recommend consuming more than 2 cups per day, as then it can cause issues like dizziness, nausea, even it can bring on the onset of a heart attack. So that's how powerful it is. So do not consume more than 2 cups per day. Now, a proper candida cleanse is needed for a 2-week period or longer, depending on the individual and their state of health, and also chelating out the heavy metals out of the body with a heavy metal detox. Now, to also be in balance, the correct probiotics are needed to keep the vaginal microbiome healthy. There are specific strains of probiotics that keep the vaginal microbiome in balance, and I will talk about the ones for men in a short while. The specific strains that feed healthy probiotics, healthy bacteria to the vaginal microbiome and assist in its pH balance are Lactobacillus acidophilus, Lactobacillus rhamnosus, L. fermentum, and Lactobacillus reuteri. Please make sure, however, that whatever brand of probiotics used is in an acid-resistant capsule. Otherwise, the probiotics will be destroyed by your stomach acid. And also make sure that it is free of titanium dioxide, as this has been classified as a cancer-causing agent. If the probiotics in capsule form states on its label that it has to be refrigerated, it is not a very good one. It means the probiotics have a short shelf life, and the probiotic strains have probably already died off, because probiotics themselves are very fragile. So now let's move on to prostate health and healing the male genitalia. Though modern medicine is geared towards men's health, as most treatments and medications are designed for the male body and predominantly tested on male rats, which is actually one reason a lot of women remain ill. They're getting the wrong treatment. Some treatments, regardless, are a detriment to men's health nonetheless, as it does not factor in nutrition, prevention, nor the real cause. At the crux of it, healing is individual and must be tailored to the individual. But in general terms, the rise in prostate cancer, prostatitis, which is painful urinary bacterial infections, erectile dysfunction, and impotence, these are really causes for alarm, as the masculine energy and the male seed are also under attack. Though the masculine energy and the male seed is part of the creative principle and a part of conscious creation, it has, however, become an imprinted programming of a thing of power over, dominance, and the male as a sexual animal or predator in modern times. This has led to the masculine, the male, being out of balance with both his consciousness, his soul, and his physical body itself. And it has created a split from himself as well. Men are hurting badly. They have great wounding. They are, however, not allowed to speak about it because it is not considered manly or a subject for men to talk about or appear weak. This has resulted in so many men being ill and out of balance with their sacred sexuality or creative energy, and they're therefore misusing and miscreating and contributing to the violence against both themselves and their female counterparts. The first healing practice for the male is to heal his place of birth, his time in the womb space, as I described earlier. Come to know your first experience of life in the womb and what was imprinted from your mother. This will begin to release the trauma wounding or abandonment fragment of the soul. Once forgiveness is reached, which is always ultimately for the self, this will begin to release trauma held in the genitalia. Now, to physical healing. All of these illnesses are first preventable and can be managed. As I mentioned earlier, the misusing of the creative energy, termed sexual energy for a better understanding, has created a host of physical illnesses, toxins, and bacterial buildup in the scrotum and urethra. And also parasite infections, unknowingly to the male. By misuse of the creative energy, I mean multiple partners and sometimes unprotected, casual, quick sex without spiritual consciousness or a loving exchange of creative energy, and without a knowledge even of their partner's health practices, as well as what is ingested in their partner's body. Now, the male penile microbiota is different from the vaginal microbiome. Therefore, it needs different nutrition and different strains and strengths of probiotics, depending as well on the level of stress the male is in. The level of stress determines the level of the male's cortisol levels, which also relates to the penile microbiota. High cortisol levels means the hormones become out of balance and weakens immunity, possibly producing excess testosterone, which can lead to prostate cancer. Now, the gut microbiome and the penile microbiota are linked, as the gut microbiome helps to maintain the integral structure of the testes, and it regulates testicular immunity in order to protect the environment of the sperm or seed. Now, every partner the male has, as well as the female, even if it is a spouse or monogamous partner, their vaginal microbiome or penile microbiota affects each other and can be the cause of sudden outbreaks or infections, fungal outbreaks or infections, especially HPV and other kinds of bacterial infections. They can transfer parasites to each other as well. This is part of what conscious coupling is. Learning about your partner and their body. This is what true intimacy is, and trust. Penile dysfunction and prostate issues stem from nickel toxicity. Nickel is a heavy metal which bacteria in the urinary tract feeds on. Now, sources of nickel toxicity is surprising, actually. It comes from the utensils we use and the pots we cook in. Silver that has silver, or metal pots, metal silverware that we use. And perhaps a reason why it affects men more than women is because there are many men who are construction workers, landscapers, lawn care workers. They ingest nickel from the environment and the soil and the air we breathe. So men who work outside in those kinds of jobs as their career or their job, really, that's one of the sources of where they get nickel toxicity from. And as I said, the other is the utensils we use and metal pots. Now, that is one reason why I see so many wooden utensils and plates, cups being made nowadays. it's kind of flooding the market. And I personally use wooden utensils when I eat, and I try to use ceramic pots to cook with. Now, to further heal for the male, he must go through a heavy metal cleanse, and as with the female, remove any metal amalgams from the mouth. Those are a main source of heavy metals, because you're literally swallowing heavy metals all day long if you have those in your mouth. And these just create a basic infestation of fluke worms because they feed on this heavy metal. To further heal the prostate and penile glands, or keep them healthy, is to feed them the correct nutrition. So first, the strains of probiotics that are beneficial to men's health are lactobacillus strains and bifidobacterium strains. There are no specific ones because very little scientific or medical research has been done in regards to the male penile microbiota. But any kind of high quality probiotics that are designed for the male microbiome is the one to choose. Another supplement that assists the body in healing and removing heavy metals, which greatly affect both male and female genitalia, is humic and fulvic acid, as it pulls heavy metals from the body and provides a rich supply of minerals, something most people are very depleted in. And minerals is basically what the bodies run on. The body is drastically depleted of minerals in modern times because the soil that our food grows in is drastically depleted of it. The soil quality has become poorer and poorer over the years. So we're eating very low quality foods now, and therefore not enough minerals is getting into the body. Humic and fulvic acid is high in minerals, and it can assist in the body with this. And it can be found in any health food stores, or you can order it online as well. Another very powerful herb, which is a plant that looks like a palm tree that assists the male reproductive system, is saw palmetto or saw palmetto. This is a powerful supplement for men's health, especially the genitalia. It is a known healer for preventing prostate cancer, as well as assisting to heal and minimize prostate infections and prostate enlargement. Saw palmetto have been shown to inhibit the growth of prostatic cancer cells, and it also balances testosterone, which is what binds to and stimulates prostate cells if excess and out of balance. Saw palmetto also strengthens the urinary organs, especially in women after menopause, and it prevents urinary infections. Studies have shown it to prevent hair loss and baldness, while increasing libido and virility in both genders, but preventing impotence in men. There are some cautions with saw palmetto, however. It negatively impacts blood thinners and prostate medications, so it is wise to consult a physician or a health practitioner before taking this supplement. It specifically reacts with aspirin, ibuprofen, and blood clotting medications. Another supplement for men's reproductive health is quercetin. This is a polyphenol derived from plants, and it is in most foods and is most abundant in red apples. Other foods being capers, cherry tomatoes, shallots, blueberries, red onions, most vegetables, and nuts like pumpkin seeds and almonds. Quercetin assists in preventing prostate cancer, and it can be taken in supplements. But as a holistic herbalist and nutritionist, nutrition from natural organic whole foods is what I always recommend. Another supplementation for men's reproductive health is zinc. Pumpkin seed oil is a powerful powerhouse. It's a powerhouse for the general health of men, especially in healing the genitalia and preventing prostate issues, as it is high in zinc. Another source being 2 to 3 Brazil nuts daily. Now here's another caution. If you choose to take the pau de arco tea daily, be careful that you do not have an excess amount of Brazil nuts, maybe 1 or 2 then in that case, because pau de arco tea is also high in selenium, and Brazil nuts is very high in selenium, and excess selenium can create adverse effects for the body, especially kidney issues. So if you choose to drink 2 cups of pau de arco daily, consume only 1 to 2 Brazil nuts daily. Now finally, for the vaginal microbiome and the penile microbiota, essential oils can be a nightly practice, whether you do it alone or create a loving, intimate health ritual with your spouse or partner. Essential oils are powerful plant healers and are very concentrated, so they must be diluted with a carrier oil. These specific blends can then be used as massage oils on the genitalia for healing the vaginal microbiome and the vulva and the penile microbiota. Now the base oil is jojoba. For females, you can add to a 30 milliliter bottle like this. So you can add half of it of jojoba oil and half of it calendula oil. Then add 2 drops of rose essential oil, frankincense essential oil, specifically Boswellia carteri, as there are different types of frankincense which serve different conditions. 2 drops of Hawaiian sandalwood, 2 drops of lavender, again, Lavandula angustifolia, because there are different types of lavender, and 2 drops of ylang ylang. Now for males, you would add half jojoba oil, half pumpkin seed oil, 2 drops of saw palmetto, 2 drops of vetiver, 2 drops of sandalwood, and give it a good shake. And this is what you can use nightly as a healing practice for both. Do not be mistaken, however, and think 2 drops is not sufficient. For example, 1 single drop of rose essential oil is 60 roses. Now, I do not mean 60 rose petals, 60 whole roses. So do not use more than 2 drops, as it can cause burning to some people. As well, it is very crucial that the essential oil is 100% pure, organic, undiluted, as about 75% of essential oil brands have additives in their oils. Some have alcohol, and some of them, their extraction practices are very questionable. So make sure it is a high quality, clean, organic source. Please. Okay. We now come to part 2 of this webinar, which is the twin flame soulmate deception and how it creates a split from self. And the other part is true lovers in partnership. Now, this section is highly personal for me, and I have not spoken about it before, partly because many do not understand and because it created such a deep soul wounding for me and a lot of trauma. I decided to speak about it because I see too many souls currently suffering from it so heartbreakingly. And here it is. The twin flame and soulmate dynamic is a deception. It is a hoax. Now, if you search for twin flame on Google or on YouTube, a plethora, endless results come up. And it is entrapping people's souls and using their soul energy. That was its intention, its design, and mastery. It feeds on the need of a person to feel that they are a special soul with special abilities and that they are a higher soul here to heal humanity. Here is what it actually is. 2 souled beings are corded together by negative entities. The common way soul beings are corded together in a twin flame union is to take a small fragment of each soul and transfer it to the other person's body or energy body. They then feel like they know each other like no other, and they cannot live without each other to such an intense degree. They become obsessed with each other, and they believe they are the other's half. These couples are often living great distances apart. So they never come together, continuously longing for each other for years and years. And great chaos ensues in their personal lives. Some even get divorced or separated from their current spouse or partner. If any do actually come together in a relationship in the same physical place, the relationship becomes very volatile, angry, and painful very quickly. Now, the psychics and the healers, psychic healers who channel and promote this phenomenon, they too are being used and mentally manipulated by negative entities. They will quickly explain it away as your shadow side is coming up to be healed in the union when you're experiencing any kind of volatile experience with the so-called twin flame, when you ask them. Now, the following may sound incredulous to some of you, but this is very true for me, as it is my physical experience. It was my physical experience. I realized something was horribly wrong about 4 years in after meeting my so-called twin flame. I started being attacked physically by things I couldn't see. My body was going through severe pain, burning and stinging along my spine, especially when I was connecting with my believed twin flame. The entities will convince you that you are telepathic with your twin flame through mind interference, and that you can hear their thoughts and talk to them. But it is really entities manipulating your mind and answering you back through thought forms in your own head. It is my understanding now, through remote viewing friends, that no one here is currently telepathic, as it is very precise and advanced energy, and no one yet has the ability to do this. But yes, you do feel your so-called twin flame because you're feeling your own soul fragment inside of them. The one you are seeking is you. Your reunion with your soul fragment inside someone else. This is what the twin flame phenomenon is. There is no twin flame or soulmate made for you, no other. There is only your soul in wholeness. We're on a journey with ourselves. This phenomenon was created to keep us seeking outside of ourselves for our wholeness, which keeps us in a split, fragmented state of self, capital S for self. And we therefore become easy targets for negative entities to attach to and feed from. This is how we're kept from our soul and our power. Fortunately for me, I confessed what I was going through with a friend a few years ago, including paralysis. Early in the mornings, I would wake up and couldn't walk at all, and had to very painfully do yoga and stretches for an hour to get my body to walk. This friend directed me to watch a video on YouTube about the alien love bite with Eve Lorgen. And she has authored books on the subject, another of her books being The Dark Side of Cupid. It was a panel of her and other healers on the subject of the twin flame deception and alien interference. Now, it described almost everything I was going through with such accuracy, I was shocked. I then found an energetic healer that did decording from others. And I had a session with him where he removed a giant cord attached from my back straight to the person that was my supposed twin flame. The pain eased for a bit, but it came back. And then he recommended me to another remote viewer healer who scanned me more deeply. And he found the piece of the twin flame soul inside me, disguised in the shape of a feather. How disarming, right? And a piece of mine in their body. This energy healer returned both pieces to the right owner, removed all the deeper cords and entanglements, and did a lot of soul retrieval for me, and the paralysis and pain went away. Now here's the most significant part. I no longer felt obsessed, attached to, or any deep romantic love for that person who I believed for 5 years was my twin flame. This was all orchestrated by negative entities. Through this courting and manipulation of the emotional and mental bodies. It took a year to get free from this and clear the deep trauma wounding. And today I am here, free from it. I am well and reconnected to my own soul. I had to do a lot of soul retrieval sessions. Since the part of the person's soul was removed from me and returned to that person, I have not had one single incident of even false telepathy. This is an erroneous deception and manipulation of souls, and it is quite evil. Implants are even placed in each of the twin flame couple to make them feel and have each other's mannerisms and personality traits, to make them feel, oh my gosh, I am feeling my twin. The ultimate goal is for these soul beings to become AI, artificial intelligence. Unfortunately though, some psychics very well know what they're doing, and they're working with entity beings under the guise of love and light. This is such a cruel deception because people believe in them while their soul energy is being taken and used without their knowledge. To be free from this, if you're currently entrapped in the twin flame deception or something like it, you must decord from the person and retrieve your soul fragments. Then heal the trauma wounding from it all. Go to your inner being or self and find out what it is that made you believe in this in the first place. And then heal this split from yourself by realizing that you yourself are a whole being and you are enough. For details on energy healers that are able to heal this and remove cording and do soul retrieval, you can see the links and videos page on my website. Now let's move on to true lovers in partnership. I love this quote very much. We must go from needing love to being love. This is the foundation for what is called conscious coupling. My definition and understanding of conscious coupling is different from the mainstream, as mine is based in soul consciousness. We're each an individual soul being. We do not share a soul with another. And we're not soulmates from previous lifetimes. These are all manipulated information fed to us in an unconscious state. But we can choose to love or express love in a spiritual manner while protecting our own soul and its energy. What this looks like is feeding, strengthening, expanding our own soul with self-love, self-care, and connection to our inner self. And self-care also means saying no and overextending your energy to people who just take and feed from it. Now, this has nothing to do with anyone else. This is personal to you. From this space of soul energy, we can be in a partnership of respect, honoring, and sacred exchange of creative energy, what is termed sexual intimacy, consciously. with the intention and goal of soul expansion for both partners. Tantric sex is a popular phenomenon, teaching, or philosophy, but it is greatly being misused as a form of kind of erotic sex in modern times. Its original meaning and intention was perfecting the inner body, meaning the soul energy, through, sacred sites in the body where energy is concentrated, which are the head, the heart, and the sacral area. Tan means to expand or spread out. And tra means beyond all limitations. And together it means woven together. Therefore, this kind of exchange of creative energy was meant for the expansion of the soul beyond all limitations, experientially, weaving together the heart, which is love, the sacred genitalia, the creative energy, and expanding into that. What is being used now is Kundalini energy, which is entity entrapment. Please avoid anything with Kundalini energy. It is a trap to extract and harness your creative energy and weaken your energy body. Now, choosing to engage in sacred creative exchange with your partner in a quiet time, gently and intimately, is what sacred coupling is, which can last for hours and does not deplete energy, rather than quick sex or sex to release tension. Some people are also addicted, in fact, most people are addicted to the reward energy of sexual coupling unconsciously, which is what we call orgasm. But what if we could be in an orgasmic state of pure love for hours? Neither quick sex nor sex to release tension are love, nor are they safe for the soul. You will be fed from in the moment, which weakens the energy body and causes that wiped out feeling of fatigue. It is because you have indeed expelled your energy to negative entities, instead of connecting it to your soul to strengthen and expand it with each other. Loving practices such as eye gazing, for example, is a very powerful form of creative energy exchange. But most couples cannot even hold this gaze with each other for more than 15 or 20 seconds, as they are so wounded. They are afraid of the vulnerability of it. Now, 5 to 15 minutes is ideal, and this can bring great expansion of the soul if this deep intimacy through love is fully expressed. And you may be surprised at how orgasmic it becomes. Other things such as other tantric practices such as being quiet and deeply connecting with and listening to each other's heart, being with each other's heart without talking. And another is yoni adoration with flower petals, or lingam adoration. You can use flower petals or essential oils like the blend I mentioned before. These are very deeply intimate ways of not only expanding love within the soul energy, but it offers great healing from the traumatic wounds we all carry, as trauma is held in the body and especially in the genitalia, not in the head. And these practices build deep trust with your partner. This will also change the genetic code in the person, and they will each begin to truly heal their body and soul. Now, eliminate anger, resentment, any kind of discord from the coupling. Find the root cause, which is often one partner is trying to control or dominate the other. This creates the other in constant defense mode, and then heal it together. From this, you can both create a beautiful cosmic bonding and expansion both individually and together while being protected. Now we've come to the final part, which is a meditation that I developed for myself, but I will share it with everyone to assist in healing the genital and sacral area. Now, the first thing is to take a deep breath and get into a state of relaxation. You can either sit down or lie down and do this at a time when you feel that you are ready to do it. Now, you take a deep breath, and the first step is to get in a calm, completely calm state all the way throughout your entire body. Now, settle your focus on your chest to your soul energy. Your soul is in your chest. And for those who can remote view, you can just connect with your soul. Those who cannot, don't worry. Imagine a golden orb inside, because in this case, you would not know the color of your soul. Mine is a light blue soul mixed with golden light. Please, I'm begging everyone, do not use white light. That is false white light that are attached to negative entities. They use false white light to fool people, and you will be flooding negative energy, negative entities into your body. Use gold energy from your soul only. Do not connect with anything outside of you. Do not connect with any entity, guides, nothing. Just your own soul inside your chest. Now create a column of golden light, mix with the color of your soul if you know it, down into your sacred area, your sacral area. And here you spread and expand out the energy gently, lovingly, with the intention to heal all trauma wounding, including physical scarring, for those who may have had hysterectomies or anything removed. Now expand this over the wounding, the trauma, pull it all out. Imagine it just being erased. Strengthen the golden energy more and more. Make it stronger and stronger. Move it over there. You can even visualize it in a spinning formation, healing your sacral area. Now the second step is to push the same golden energy from your soul inside your chest into your shoulders and arms, out into your hands. Now place your hands over, for women, your ovaries, and for men, over where your scrotum would be inside. There's the seed inside. If you're missing any parts, like an ovary or a scrotum, visualize it being there energetically, and move this energy over the entire area until you feel like you want to stop, or that you've done it enough, or you might continue another time. Now, tears may come up, anger may come up, emotions may come up, even anxiety. This is trauma or whatever is held there being pushed out to be healed. Let it come. If the tears fall, let them fall. It's okay. This is a healing process. And you can do this many times a day, once a week, whenever, however many times you wish, in order to heal yourself using your own energy. This is how powerful you are, and you can do this. So you can practice expanding the energy out. Now, even if you feel arousal, that is okay. That is okay too. Move that arousal energy, because that is your creative energy, up into your soul, and create like a circular movement of both energies back and forth. And now expand the energy all out around you. This is your own energy. It's strengthening you. It's healing you. So our energy body goes out, maybe about 6 feet or so in a circular fashion around our physical bodies. Extend it all the way out to your energy body, but do not move your soul from your chest. Your soul remains there, just the energy from it. And you can continue to do this until you feel you want to stop or need to stop, or you feel at peace with this exercise. So this is the healing meditation that you can use to heal your sacred area. Now, in conclusion, a relative whom I love dearly said to me a few days ago, "I am amazed at you." And I asked her why. The response was, "No matter how much you get knocked down all the time, you just keep getting back up and moving forward." Here is the importance of this statement at this current time. We do not have a choice. We are in a time where we are remembering who we are and becoming truly aware once again of what our soul is and how critical it is to our survival. We must begin with great determination and steadfastness our healing journey. There is no time to drop the ball. I hope this webinar has assisted in that journey, and I thank you for making the decision to heal. Thank you for including me in your personal journey. Be well and be in your soul. Love, all love. Take care.